What's up, everybody? Today, we're going to open up the Tone Crypt and look at some ballpark tones for the band Death. Ever wondered how Death's sound evolved from raw mayhem to precise, crushing perfection? What if we could rank that evolution across 4 levels of tone? Today, we're diving into Death's legendary guitar sound, and I'm bringing in Varvis to break it all down. From Chuck Schuldiner's iconic early raw crunch to the redefined power of later Death albums, we'll explore it all. Plus, Varvis is revealing his personal take on Chuck's tone. Can we truly capture that evolution? Stick around and find out. We'll use everything from free amp sims to Varvis's own premium tone setup. Plus, Varvis shares his essential Death tracks, so if you're not familiar with the band yet, you will be by the end. Hey, what's up, guys? Today I'm here with Chris. His channel name is Varvis, and he is my resident Death expert, a new friend. He knows a lot about the band, so I figured I'd bring him on and help me figure out this guitar tone.
What's up, you guys? How's it going today? How you doing, Brian, man? How are you? Thanks for having me on your program.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I thought it'd be really cool. He actually just made a video using it was a Marshall Valve State combo amp, right?
Yeah, the 8080 combo amp, which is the combo amp version of the famous Valve State 8100 head, is what it is. So yeah, it's dope. So firstly, I wanted to ask you, what do you think makes Death such an important band to you? So Death to me, there's just something about the way that Chuck Schuldiner wrote all his riffs and all his songs, the fact that he sort of used the same song structure throughout his whole career, and the fact that every album was sort of like an evolution on the next, and not in the way that a lot of bands have evolutions in their sound that people really dislike. You know, you can think of Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, even bands like, you know, more in the death metal realm, like Morbid Angel. They all sort of treaded into waters that people really didn't seem to like, whereas Death just seemed to evolve their sound in a very natural way that just seemed to get better and better and better, rather than sort of chasing trends or, you know, trying to get like a sellout album. Or on the other vein, right, a lot of bands just sort of stay in their lane and don't really experiment with their sound. And you know, like, there's nothing wrong with finding your niche, so to speak, and sticking with it. Death really just evolved in a really like organic and excellent way. And you know, their last 2 albums they're my favorites of the 7. So for me, that's it. And you know, and of course, right, it's like death metal, but it's not death metal talking about killing people and guts and stuff. I think there's a famous quote from Chuck in one of the interviews. He said, "Is like, I don't really sing about demons or you know, Satan or anything like that, because reality is scary enough as it is." You know what I mean? Like, I sing about reality. Like, that's the real scary thing, right? So that's what I really like about Death, I would say.
Yeah, I was actually just reading through some of the lyrics from like Scream Bloody Gore. My God, it was like Cannibal Corpse lyrics. I didn't know. I know more about like the newer albums, I guess is what it would be, like Symbolic and Sound of Perseverance. I didn't really venture into the older albums that they had. Man, I didn't realize how gory he got back then. Yeah, man. Well, you know, I sort of look at it this way, right? That was sort of, I don't want to say like fresh or new, right? Because other bands have been doing that type of stuff before. But on like Scream Bloody Gore and Leprosy, it was definitely not as overdone at the time, I guess you could say. And right, you know, I think he was like 20 years old, right? I'm not sure how old you are. I think you're probably around the same age as me. I'm 30 years old, but you know, I'm 30, yeah.
Oh, nice. Wait, 94?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, bro. Sick. But yeah, anyways, yeah, so yeah, the early albums are really very, very death metal. And right, that they're, you know, that's sort of like the death metal style, gory lyrics. I sort of look at them as like cheesy horror movies in sound form, I guess. How I look at it, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. So what do you think made Chuck's playing style unique compared to other death metal guitarists?
So that's an interesting question. So he used the same guitar, basically. I'm not sure exactly when he started using the BC Rich Stealth with the X2N pickup in the bridge, which is a big part of his sound, right? Because the X2N Mars, it was just like a really, really, really hot pickup. I plug my X2N into my audio interface and it like starts clipping, right? And other guitars like close to clipping, like it's a super, super high output passive pickup. So that pickup, I think he started playing the Stealth and around Leprosy. It's hard to get information that far back, but that combined with his just really thin strings that he would play on, I think he played in D standard on all his albums. And the BC Rich Stealth is like a 40 or a 24 and 5/8 scale length guitar, so it's a little bit shorter scale. and I think nine nines. So that's a pretty thin string for shorter scale guitar. And he would just pick really, really hard. And you can hear how hard he's picking. That's what makes the riffs hit so hard, especially on the Sound of Perseverance, like the clarity of the production of the album. You can really hear it. So yeah, that was pretty cool. He was like a self-taught guitarist. There's a couple interviews he says where he doesn't really focus on music theory or anything like that. So there's that factor. He just picked really, really hard. Another thing, not really focused on music theory, sort of just playing what sounded good. Another thing that he did quite often was he harmonized things in pure fifths rather than, in thirds or anything like that. And when you harmonize like whole runs in fifths, like the beginning, like in Crystal Mountain, that's like you know what I mean? Oh my god. You get on camera and you can't play guitar.
Oh, yeah, I feel that.
Like that run, it's harmonized just purely in right? And so the fifth harmonization, you hear it on, I think, Zombie Ritual. Like it's literally all over Death's playing, but that like fifth interval harmonization really gives a very, I don't know, it sort of takes you in and out of the scale that you're playing in. Say you're playing in like D minor or whatever. But the fifth harmonizations all over the place is really another trademark style of Chuck's playing, I would say.
Yeah.
As well as, I guess you would call it either, it's like the sus2, but it's more like an add 9 chord. So it's basically like 2 power chords stacked on top of each other, right? So like that's all over the place as well. So there's a lot of things he does constantly throughout his career. He did, the add 9 chord stuff a lot later on. And then, of course, in the beginning, it was whole just like tremolo pick, nastiest intervals. But yeah, I'd say harmonized in fifths, picking really hard, and the add 9 chord are really like his trademark playing styles to me.
So you would say it's more his technique instead of his gear, or a combination?
I guess, yeah. Like I think we were talking on the email before. I think it was like the first 2 albums. Maybe it might have even been the first 3 albums were recorded with like a JCM 800 with a boost in front of it. It sounds good. I'm not blown away by the tone on Sound or Scream Bloody Gore, Leprosy, and Spiritual. But it's good. Like it's death metal tone. Human definitely had an interesting tone to it as well. But I think what kind of really sets it apart in like the later years as well, and he says it in an interview. If you're looking for more info too, if you go to emptywords.com or
okay, I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, emptywords.org. I think it was started by one of his family members like after he passed, and it's basically just like a whole collection of interviews and stuff. It's like super old school like HTML internet, but it still works and all the links work too. But you can find lots of good information on there. Metallica
has so much available information that it's almost like I get spoiled trying to look at other bands. Like I just did a video on Warbringer and Evil, who are like 2 newer thrash bands, but they didn't get as big. I had to like scrub through videos and like look in the background and try to like decipher pixels to figure stuff out. And with Death, man, they don't have that much information from the early stuff. It's all about the valve state.
Yes. And I was gonna say too, and like the later albums, I definitely think it was sort of the gear, because he was literally just like his guitar. I think he had a chorus pedal that he would use for solos into the valve state. That was it. It was very sort of a pure tone in that sense, which really sort of let the valve states, I guess, uniqueness sort of shine through, especially on the last 3 albums, Individual Thought Pattern, Symbolic, and The Sound of Perseverance.
Yeah.
I would say it's definitely more technique-wise. I think he could have made any amp sound good, right? And of course, is all like the recording, what the recording engineer does, like that can totally change the amp sounds. But yeah.
So what do you think is an overlooked aspect of his guitar tone? Or his playing?
I don't know, man. I think it's just how percussive some of the chugs are. Like if you listen on Symbolic and again The Sound of Perseverance, the chugs are just so powerful again because he's just like picking so hard. Like if you listen, it's like I think like Bite the Pain. It's like
yeah, right.
Something about the valve state, how hard he was picking, like the chugs that he was doing, that was really, really powerful. And that's not to say that like other people's chugs are so powerful, but yeah, and even on like a Spear Crusher during the last part, like that part,
yeah.
there's something about how, like, even though he's chugging on the A string, right? The G string and D standard. It just sounds just so heavy and powerful. I don't know. It's just something about the way it's like the amp or the production. And you hear that on like all the records too, like even on Human as well. Like what is it? In Sewer Slide Machine, it's like I don't know. It's just like something about the way his like right hand technique and how hard he's picking the strings. Yeah, it's just yeah. That's what I would say is an underrated part of his technique. His right hand, I guess he would say.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think most people think about his leads, but he does have a really good right hand. And he reminds me of Gary Holt. I was doing research on Gary Holt, and he has the same kind of. He uses really light strings, just picks the fuck out of it. He uses a passive pickup, if I remember correctly, and just in the JCM 800, and he just really shines because of his right hand.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There must be something about just like light strings and picking really hard. For me, I'm too much of a noob. I need to use thicker strings, otherwise I just bend them out of tune all the time.
Yeah. So what do you think's an underrated song by Death?
An underrated song by Death. I don't hear people talking that much about Zero Tolerance. Zero Tolerance, Symbolic, one of my favorite ones. The first riff is so funny to play. I totally forgot that. That song to me, and it's not necessarily about Chuck Schuldiner, it's more about Gene Hoglan, the drummer in that song. Like that song, it's not very intense in the riffing or very fast, but Gene Hoglan just absolutely just carries that song like on his back. And to me, that just really goes to show how a good drummer and a very creative drummer can take riffs that aren't really that complex or fast and make them heavy and very interesting. Yeah, I love Colin. It's one of the best songs. Empty Words is another really good one. That same album. Honestly, anything off Symbolic. Another one I would say is Lack of Comprehension is pretty. Within the Mind of Spiritual Healing. That's a really good song, I would say.
Okay.
Very, very heavy, very chugging. Probably like my favorite song of Spiritual Healing. Yeah, one of the best ones. That one. I would say Zero Tolerance and Within the Mind, but for different reasons.
Okay. We talked about this. We think he was using a JCM 800 on the first two albums?
Yes. As far as I know, and what some people have said in like some of my comments and all the research I've done over, like the last year and a half or whatever running this channel, that's what I've been able to gather. It seems like the first 2, maybe 3 albums, I say maybe because I don't really know for sure, but Spiritual guitar tone sounds pretty much the same as Leprosy to me. But yeah, it was like a JCM 800, whatever guitar he was using. I think he was using a BC Rich like Bitch in the beginning, and then got the Stealth. So he's always been a BC Rich, and I'm sure they always just have like a high output passive pickup in the bridge.
Yeah,
and I think he was using like a overdrive or like a distortion pedal in front of the amp.
Yeah, I definitely think so too. I actually really love the tone on Leprosy. I think it's really cool. It has like a nice scoop sound, like Metallica does, and I was really surprised by that because I didn't think anybody else really scooped the shit out of their sounds. Because like Slayer definitely did not, Megadeth didn't, and Exodus didn't back in the day, but they did.
Yeah, it seemed like they're a little bit ahead of the crowd, scooping the shit out of their sounds for sure.
Yeah.
And the drums are really, really powerful in Leprosy too, and that says really, really great songwriting as well. Like it's like Pull the Plug's basically almost like a pop song, but just in death metal.
Yeah,
so catchy.
Yeah, I think that's really helps songwriting if metal bands try to write pop songs but in a metal style. I don't know. I think that's the catchiest way to do it.
Yeah, like to me, like you can write all the craziest riffs you want, the best riffs you want, but if they're organized and just like riff salad, it's just not gonna hit the same as if you have a cohesive song. Okay, here's a sick riff, you got the verse, you got the big chorus hook. You're like, why don't you? You know what I mean? Yeah. Totally agree, bro. Totally agree.
So how do you think the tone changed from Scream Bloody Gore to Leprosy?
I feel like it just got. I think it was more. I think to do with production. I think the production budget was like a little bit higher. It's not drowned in reverb. Just like a little bit tighter. Yeah, that's how I would say it. I wouldn't say there's like a drastic difference. The drastic difference to me comes once you move from like individual thought patterns to symbolic, I think is when the tone really begins to change quite a bit.
Yeah, I think I could see that too. Do you think that Leprosy Tone was a conscious step up, or do you think it was better gears recording, but you thought it was better like recording budget?
I think it was better recording budget. I think Scream Bloody Gore was recorded over like a week or something like that, it says, and like Chuck recorded all the instruments, like bass too.
Oh wow, okay.
Kind of like a little bit sloppy in some parts, right? Which kind of adds to the whole charm.
Yeah.
But I'm not. But yeah, Leprosy is definitely a whole lot tighter. I think they had more time to record, more time to get everything tight, like doubled perfectly.
Yeah.
And yeah, a little bit less drown and reverb too, which definitely helps the guitars stand out and not just sort of get washed away. But drowning and reverb too has its place, right? 1987, that first one came out. 89, right? That was after sort of like Slayer and Metallica sort of, went against the grain completely, and with Rain and Blood and Injustice for All, I'm just like, yeah, no more reverb, no more drowning your shit in reverb. We're going like tight, crisp sounds here. So
yeah,
I think that's maybe what's kind of going on too.
And then if you had to recreate the era's tone today, what do you think is the key to nailing it?
Key to nailing that thing, I think it's, you gotta just pick really hard and make your stuff really, really distorted. There's so many JCM 800 amp sims, amp clones, stuff out there. Like, I think it's pretty easy to get it. I'm sure there's some, nerd on Reddit somewhere has, dialed in the exact settings for your JCM 800 and your metal zone pedal to get it. So I think it is, but you just pick really hard, I'd say, and just distort your stuff. And a little bit of reverb in the background, that's what I would say.
Hey, I'm gonna take a quick second to say, if you like what I'm making, please subscribe, please comment, please like the videos. And if you want to see more behind the scenes content, I have a YouTube membership and a Patreon, which both have the same kind of membership deals. But on Patreon, I have guitar tones that you'll be able to get if you get the highest tier. The YouTube membership has the same tiers, just without the guitar tones. So if you like what I do, you like my content, and you want to support me, I have a YouTube membership, Patreon, and I have Buy Me a Coffee where you can just send me a quick donation. Now back to the video. So now I'm gonna show you, I created a tone for Scream Bloody Gore, and I created one for Leprosy, and I'll get your take on it. For the first tone, I'm using the Hybrid, a free JCM 800 / Plexi plugin. It's a bare bones amp sim, no extras, but it gets the job done with the right tweaks. Since Scream Bloody Gore has that raw, lo-fi sound, the Hybrid felt like a really good match. The signal chain starts with an EQ boost at 125 Hz for some extra low end, then into the TSE 808 for a bit of grit. From there, it runs into the Hybrid, through NAT IR with 2 Marshall V30 IRs, and finishes with a final EQ with my usual high and low pass filters, a small notch at 4.5K to kill the digital hiss, and a slight bump at 2K to nail that sharp, cutting tone from the album. What do you think?
I think you got pretty close there, man. I think one of the things that you really nailed there was the big importance of the bass in the first 2 Death records too. Like, the bass is very, very present in those too. I like that. I actually don't. That sounds good.
Yeah, that was probably the hardest one I tried to nail all day. I don't know why. I couldn't get the high end to sit just right. I think it had something to do with the production of the album, but I couldn't get it to sit where I wanted to. But thank you.
Yeah, like, who knows, man? And like, it's almost impossible trying to recreate like the mixing desk from 1987. Like, it could have been like the tape it was recorded on. Like, there's so many things that could just like affect the tone back then. But yeah, I think you did a pretty good job. That was good.
So I just want to take another quick second to thank some people who helped me keep the lights on over here. I want to thank my first patron. Thank you so much for helping me out. If you want to join him, please go check out my Patreon down below. Please check out my YouTube membership. It really helps me out a lot. And then secondly, I want to thank my friend over at Tone Deck. He's partnered with my channel. He's given me a few discount codes for you guys. You can use it on his website. He makes some really cool IRs, and he has some really cool stuff coming down the pipeline. So if you guys want to take your tone to the next level, please go check out his website. Thank you. For the second tone, I'm using the Nembrini MRH 810, which is a higher fidelity sound. It's a solid choice for Leprosy since that album has a scooped, gritty tone that really defined early death metal. The signal chain starts with an EQ, then runs into the TSE 808 for some added bite. From there, it goes into the Nembrini MRH 810, but this time I'm using it to load my 2 IRs instead of NAT IR. Same Marshall V30s as before. It all wraps up with a final EQ to tighten everything up, and a big cut at around 800 Hz to shape the tone.
Dude, that sounded great. I don't get the squealies there. The squealies sounded like right on there.
Oh, dude, that took so many tries this morning to get just right, but I'm really glad I put it in the time. I'm awful at pinch harmonics, which is weird because I've been playing guitar for 15 years. I don't know why I never wanted to learn pinch harmonics, so that took forever, but thank you.
Was he like... was it all both on the second fret of the A string, or like... I don't know.
On the tabs that I looked up, it said it was on the 3rd fret of the E, the low E.
Interesting. Yeah, dude, that sounded really good. I thought that was cool. Yeah, maybe like the bass just a little bit too loud there, but I don't know. But that's like me being really nitpicky. That sounded pretty good. Like really nasty. It was good, bro. It sounded really good.
So now we'll talk about Symbolic and Sound of Perseverance.
Hell yeah, that now we're getting to like the stuff that
Yeah. So by Symbolic, he started using the Marshall valve state. Do you know why he changed to that?
Well, I think the valve state was released in '93. So I think he just like walked into a guitar store, saw the new Marshall amp was out, and plugged his guitar in and liked the sound and bought it. I think probably like as simple as that.
Damn. Okay. I mean, yeah, it definitely could be.
So I don't really think Marshall was sending him free stuff or anything like that, but he's probably like what we said though, like in the Human, he was using like some amp brand I'd never even heard of, like Rush.
I think it's Gallion Kruger, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so maybe just saw the brand new shiny Marshall valve state amplifier, and I think he had heard of some of the other death metal bands like using some other solid state stuff. The Marshall valve state's sort of like a hybrid kind of it. Yeah, I think he probably just walked in there, plugged his stuff in, liked it. He's like, oh, this is nice, and then used it. I think like as simple as that.
What's the biggest difference between his Leprosy Tone and his Symbolic Tone, other than the amps, do you think?
All the albums before Symbolic, they were very dense sounding, I would say. Like there's like a lot going on, like all the frequencies, and then once you get to Symbolic, I find that album has a lot of room in the mix. Like it's sort of it's not like a very heavy and dense album. There's a lot of room. Like the guitars definitely have their own space in the mix. Like the bass is its own place. The drums aren't overly loud. Like nothing is overly compressed. Nothing is overly like smashed in your face, smashing limiters. It's just like a very sort of like pure, organic sounding album to me. Is what it will sound like that. And there's like some interviews from around the same time that Symbolic came out, and Chuck was saying like he really wanted to have like a more pure tone, because I don't really think he was very happy with the mix on Individual Thought Patterns, which is a very like dense and chaotic sounding album. So like the juxtaposition between those two, I just love Symbolic. There's just so much room for everything to breathe, and I don't know, man. It's just very pure. It almost sounds like crystal to me, like a crystal guitar tone. Like it's not that distorted, but it's still, it's not enough. Get some like chugs and stuff going. Like, that's what I would say to that. Yeah, Symbolic's tone is very, very pure and not.
So I would assume you prefer the Symbolic guitar tone over the Sound of Perseverance.
I kind of like the Sound of Perseverance one more.
Okay.
It's really just, it matches like the bright red cover of the album. Like it's just hot. It's like it's angry. It's a very angry tone. It sounds like there's a lot more like upper mids in the tone, and it's just and like a little bit more bass to it too. It's just very like fiery and angry, and I think he's like picking even harder. I don't know. I think Sound of Perseverance is my favorite Death album, I think, and I just love the guitar tone on that one. To me, it's like similar to Symbolic, but Symbolic is like sort of like crystal clear, whereas Symbolic, or as it sound of Perseverance, is just like pure anger, I guess, in guitar tone. I guess you could say maybe.
Yeah. Cool. And then I'll show you my guitar tone for Symbolic. This is actually probably my favorite Death song. This is the one that I knew the most before even doing this. So I got to do some research on this band when I started doing this process. And then I don't know why I forgot about this song. This song is dope. For this last one, I'm playing Symbolic off of Symbolic. And the Brit tone felt like a really good fit. It's got the most tweakable controls of the three. And once you get a good feel for how they interact, you can dial in some really cool variation. This plugin is based on the JCM 900, not a Valve State 8100, but it gets the job done. The signal chain starts with an EQ, then into the TSE 808, followed by the Brit tone. From there, it runs into NAT IR, where I'm loading 2 Marshall V30 IRs. Finally, a last EQ tightens everything up with a big cut at 1.1K and a high shelf at 6K to shape the tone. So what do you think?
Sounds really good. It's definitely got the, I don't like the Valve State nastiness. I don't know what you got, what you used to record that, but it definitely has that sort of Valve State. I don't like. There's just something in like the upper mids of the Valve State.
Yeah,
something to it. I don't know what it is.
I actually use. It's called the Brit tone from Audio Assault. I think it's supposed to mimic a JCM 900 or just some kind of Marshall amp. I think they like an amalgamation of a few amps, and I think I felt it fitted perfectly, so that's why I went with it too. I think it's a really cool guitar tone. I think my favorite might be the Leprosy sound, but this is definitely a close second. Like you're saying, it's pretty crystal clear. You can hear a lot of his playing in it. I don't know, it is dope. It's a really cool sound.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it sounds good. Have you ever tried the tone I'm hearing, the tone you're hearing? It's by an amp. It's an amp something called the Solidus VS 8100. It's just like a amp clone of the 8100. Amp sim clone. Pretty cool amp. It sounds pretty good.
You know, I haven't tried it out.
Yeah, dude. Symbolic such a good album. Yeah, I think it sounds really good. You could really tell in that song too, especially like you get a really good glimpse of the tone right off the bat as soon as you hear it on, because it's just sort of like the lone guitar playing. You get a really nice like overview of the tone, like immediately as you tune in. But yeah, so like it's not that distorted. It's not like that pushed. Like it's very crystal clear, which you really hear a lot on the song Crystal Mountain. Actually, plays those open arpeggios. Like and he plays those like he doesn't change the volume on his guitar. Like, he doesn't do anything there. Like it's just open notes, fully distorted, and you can hear all the individual notes of the chord pretty clearly, which you can't really. I'm sure if you played that on like the Leprosy Tone, you wouldn't hear it nearly as clear. So yeah, really good. I think you got pretty close, bro. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Thank you. So now, did you want to show off? I guess you've been showing off your tone this whole time, but do you want to show off anything?
I wish I could show off the Valve State tone, but my Valve State's having this like weird problem where every time you change notes quickly, they're like super gates. Like it's almost like the noise gate is like super close. So I would just say if you want to hear that amp sounding better, just go watch my video I made on that amp. But yeah, I would just say like the Solidus tone is pretty cool. One of the things I thought was very interesting is actually the speakers that he would have been using. Because the speakers in the Marshall Valve State cab that came with it are the Celestion G12Ls or the G12T, I think they are. And those have a very, very like distinct sound apart from the vintage 30s that like everyone likes to use.
What do you think's the most iconic Death riff that shows off his tone?
I think it probably either has to be the Symbolic riff you played earlier, or maybe Crystal Mountain.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's another one. There's like you can pick a song of every album. Pull the Plug's a really good one.
Yeah.
Why don't you Bullet Plug's another really good one. Together as One off Human would be another really good one. And then probably Spirit Crusher off the Sound of Perseverance, right? Because you have the... like that kind of really slinky riff, and then you got this part after too. It also has like the big chorus and the held open chorus. And then of course, right, you have like, you know, one of like the greatest riffs ever after that too. Yeah, I think those like 4 songs, Symbolic, Spirit Crusher, Together as One, and then Pull the Plug, really sort of like emblematic of this tone, I would say.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. Yeah, you really like it was the Solidus plugin.
Yeah, the Solidus, the VS80 or VS8110 or something like that. Just look up Solidus VS81 something.
Okay, so that would be something you would recommend if someone was looking to recreate his later tone with using modern stuff.
Yeah, like in the presets, they literally have like a plugin called Death or Chuck.
Oh, cool, that's dope. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. I was gonna check it out for this video, but then I know you mentioned you had it, so I'm glad that you were able to show that off. And then if somebody was looking to really recreate it, they'd either try to get their hands on a valve state, or like you did, get the combo amp.
Yeah, the 8080 combo amp was like much cheaper. I don't know what it is in the States, but you guys, you know, it's much easier to ship stuff too, right? You don't have to cross tariffs, import fees, whatever, blah blah blah. But like 8100 heads are now going for like quite a bit of money, so I would suggest.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, dude, if you can look around, maybe like flea markets or like garage sales, like people don't really know what they have still, right? I've seen them going on Reverb for like $1,000 now, which is crazy. Like I was talking to my buddy Kalen from 6 String TV. He got a Valve State head like 4 years ago for like $20. like nobody wanted them, but now everyone's like, oh, these are kind of special. They have a very distinct and unique sound. But yeah, so I recommend get a combo ramp, because that also has the G12T speaker in it already built in, so you don't need to find that.
Oh, true.
And then, you know, you can just find whatever guitar, put an X2N in it, like $100, and yeah, there you go. You can, you know, start sounding like Death, basically.
Fuck yeah, that's dope, man. Is there anything else that you wanted to shout out in this video?
Make sure you like and subscribe to this guy's videos, bro. His channel is criminally underrated. Give him some love.
Thank you. And then your channel is Varvis.
Yeah, just Varvis. I make riffs, I don't know, like deep dives. I just do whatever, anything tangentially related to metal, I just post about, basically.
I mean, you do a really good job with it. I don't know how you get out so many good videos in like such a short amount of time. I have to take like a whole week to try and make the next one, and then you've already made 3 by then. You're really good at this. Thanks, man. Thank you for coming on. Check out his channel. He makes amazing shit. And if you really like Death, he does a really good job at breaking their shit down.
Cheers. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. All right, so I've been running a few polls on YouTube to see what kind of content you guys want more of, and I really appreciate everyone who's voted so far. But now, I want to put everything together in one big, comprehensive poll to make sure I'm heading in the right direction. It's a quick Google form, no personal info required, just a few questions to help shape the future of the channel. So if you voted in the previous polls, I'd love for you to take a minute, fill this one out too. The link's in the description. Thank you guys for your input. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. It truly means a lot. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to reach 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year. If you are interested, please check out my Patreon. And if you want to help shape my content, please check out the Google form and go vote on stuff. Also, if you enjoyed this video, I want you to check out this video on the screen. It's on Slayer's South of Heaven. I took a stab at creating a guitar tone, and I'm pretty happy with the results, so I think you'll enjoy it too. Again, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace!